How would you like to be able to make a hidden magnet clasp for paracord bracelets? If so, stay tuned and I'll show you how. Okay, for this video, you don't need a lot. You're going to need some type of magnet. So you can see here, I have 4. I'm going to use 2 of them. So I'm going to take these 2, put them to the side. I'm only going to need 2 of them. The big piece is you need to have a magnet that you can get to fit inside of here. And I'll kind of walk you through it. In this case, I just pulled these out of some old electronics I had. You can find magnets online, small magnets online. So however you want to source it, you do what you need to do. But really the concept here is take your paracord and you need to make a bracelet that you can clasp on one end. So in my case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make just a very basic bracelet that has a loop on one end. So I'm just going to, like I said, something really basic. And I can never remember what this, it's like a snake weave or something like that. But I'm going to do just something very basic like that. And I'm just going to do that for the for the entire bracelet. Now the nice thing is with this, you could do 2 colors. You know, you don't have to stick with one color. You could do 2. Use the Manny method for here, for the loop side, and then just go ahead and, but for the sake of this video, I'm just doing one color. And I'll go ahead and do this and fast forward through it. But the other piece you're going to need is you're going to need some fids or something that you can use for at the end. And I'll show you, you'll see why here shortly.
A few moments later.
Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to need to cut. You're going to have to decide. One piece that you're going to have to decide is, do you want the clasp to be right on the edge, or do you want one side to be a little longer so that it's not pulling right at the magnetic connection all the time? So that is one point you are going to have to decide upon. So case in point, do you want it to be where when it's clasped, that it's pulling, say, right at the connection? Or do you want to do one side a little bit longer and one side a little shorter, so that it's more like going to be more like this? I would recommend something like this, but you do what you prefer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one a little bit longer. And I'm going to cut the one next to it a little bit shorter. Okay, so it's going to be like this. So then, whenever it's sealed or it's clasped, it's not going to be clasping right at the connection. The other piece that you have to do is you have to pull out some of the inner core a little bit. So this is usually easier if you have scissors. I don't have any with me right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it a little bit because you need it hollow. Okay, so that one side is hollow, partially. There we go. Okay, so what you're next going to want to do is take your fid, stick it in there as deep as you can so that you can kind of expand out the size of the sheath. And then just take do that on one side. And then on the other. Now you gotta give it a couple seconds to cool. Now the hard part, and this is actually one of the most difficult parts. You gotta get your pieces in there. So, as you can see, in my case, even then, with using the this piece, it's still not big enough. I figured it would be, but you can see here that even at its widest, it's still so gotta mess with it a little bit, play with it. And then I'm just going to use the fid to kind of push it in there as much as I can, because the idea is you want this to be hidden. Now, you have two options at this point. You can either A, melt over it and call it done, or B, put a little bit of super glue in there. The super glue is going to, you're not gonna be able to hide it as well, but it's going to be in there. With the this method, you melt it. You're gonna have to kind of cover it up. And even then, it may not be the best cover job. So you do what you prefer. I would recommend super glue. I've done both. I find the super glue is a better choice, but that's just me. So next, let's get the other one in and we'll go from there. Okay, so now we could put one side in, take this other side, and there you have it. You have a magnetic clasp. Something different. It's not going to hold super great, but you can see I'm giving it a little bit of. So for day to day, should do the trick. And then when you're done, just take it apart. So that's it for this week, guys. I hope this tutorial, you find it helpful. But until next time, keep paracording. Later.